name is Ole Dirty Bastard. You know what I'm saying? I don't hide nothing back.
Boy, you know you shouldn't bother this. Leave me alone, nigga. Like your son, you'll be fatherless. I got the Asiatic flow, mixed with disco. I roll up on the scene like the Count of Monte Cristo. And MC starts to vanish. I rolled up on the jet black kid. He started speaking Spanish. Yo, he wasn't from Panama. I asked the nigga how the fuck he get so dark. He said, Santana. He responded so fast he made me laugh. I scared his ass. I picked out 100 strong rhyme. Then I brought out the punk in him. I caught him with the strong 5 deadly venom. I told him enter the WuTang and witness the Shaolin slang that crush any shit niggas bring. And watch your ass take a big fall. See why? My main source is like a friendly game of stickball. And as you step up to Batman, I play the Riddler. Niggas try to do me for a rhyme, I change to Hitler. I go out like a Nazi. Niggas be wishing they fucking ass stayed home and play Yahtzee. Or watching Happy Days, sweating pots with Ralph, Richie Cunningham, Joni, and Chopstick. Oh, me getting ready to I'm through, that's like a 10.5 foot getting in a 7 shoe. Now fix your back with them and no tuck. Nigga, I have your ass doing some night fever shit. John Travolta. I come strong, I'm acknowledged, born. I lift the strip and rock on, but being back for fucking dawn. Bash your hammer, you broke down English grammar. What, you can't understand it? There's the panorama.
Russell Tyrone Jones, aka Ole Dirty Bastard, born November 15th, 1968, died November 13th, 2004. Today's feature has been called wild, eccentric, magnetic, and unapologetically raw. With a stage name like Ole Dirty Bastard, you could kinda understand why those choice of adjectives were used to describe him. The good thing about those choice of words were they were all true and represented ODB's music perfectly. Because how wild and all the above do you have to be to open a classic song like Shimmy Shimmy Ya Shimmy Yam Shimmy Yay? But that was the likable thing about ODB. It represented hip-hop in its purest form of what it was invented to be. Against the rules, loud, caught your attention, in your face, and interestingly free. There was nothing quite like what he brought to hip-hop, fortunate and unfortunately, because while his combination of unpredictability, realness, and charisma made for great songs and a one-of-a-kind artist, it took a lot of life experience from him to get to that point, and most of them weren't experiences you'd want someone else to have just to make timeless hip-hop music. There's no secret ODB probably indulged in a lifestyle of hard drugs, and you would have to look no further than his music to know that. No more will I chase the drugs, from his song Wastin' Time, for example. But drugs, especially in his time, wasn't at all foreign to his music consumers, which is what made him so relatable. His life tread right along the thin lines of being a successful celebrity and person who's just like you or I. Like the story of him once riding in a limousine to pick up his food stamps in a mink coat, no shirt, gold chain, and tinted shades to mask whatever party he was at the night before. There's tons of stories like this about Ole Dirty Bastard, and they all played into the mystery and intrigue of his character. As far as his music, he was truly as innovative as they say. His rhyme style is impossible to impersonate because it seems not even he knew what he'd say on a track next, and if you listen closely, you could hear the many times an engineer must have had to punch in to complete a full song by ODB. Not that that was a terrible thing, because it made for a unicorn-like style and persona that we probably won't ever see again. Not with the PC direction society's moving in today. With his half-sung, half-rap cadence, ODB truly had the potential to elevate from just a unicorn to quite possibly the biggest act in hip-hop if put together correctly. That never happened, and sadly, he isn't here today to tell us why. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man.
I went and bought me an outfit today that costed a lot of money today. I don't know how y'all see it. Puppy is good. but WuTang is the best.
Born Russell Jones in Brooklyn, New York, Ole Dirty Bastard, usually referred to by his mom as Rusty, grew up in the Fort Greene neighborhood and would frequently visit his cousins RZA and GZA in Staten Island. It's there he found his rap name from an old Chinese martial arts film called Ole Dirty and the Bastards, and also because his style was described as having no father to it. Old martial arts films were popular in the 80s and 90s and inspired the three to put together a collective. At first, they were branded Force of the Imperial Master, aka All In Together Now, and later WuTang after adding members to the group. But not just members, almost all that would eventually become hip-hop legends. He first stepped on the national scene on the 1992 Protect Your Neck by WuTang, and from there he took off. He had a special gift for attracting attention, like singing an old dirty version of Over the Rainbow for RCA and Loud Records that helped place an offer on the table. Or the time, like mentioned earlier, he pulled up to the welfare office in a limo with camera crews following him that was all over MTV and caused serious adjustments to how welfare recipients were selected shortly after. He was clever and just outrageous enough to get your attention, but also brave enough to maybe take it too far. Stunt number 1, he was too street. In many ways, understanding ODB is hating him for what you loved about his music. One example is him being much too involved in the streets and illegal activities that distracted him from not only making but excelling in music like he could have had he been more focused and spending his time in the studio and on promo tours instead of in a hospital or jail. Just a year after WuTang released their first single in '92, including ODB, he was arrested and convicted of second-degree assault for an attempted armed robbery. The very next year, he was shot in the abdomen by an unknown rapper because of a dispute they had in the streets. Throughout the entire 90s, legal troubles were just as notable in his life as his success in music. It seemed like he was a magnet to trouble with the law at home and in the streets. The thing about it is, he loved his neighborhood and found it hard to detach himself from it. A part of that difficulty was he never felt he was better than anyone else there, even after the group's success and his own solo album going platinum. He was once arrested for stealing a pair of $50 sneakers when he had over $500 in his pocket. It was natural, it was instinct. It was a person without proper guidance and foundation that just couldn't get out of his own way to embrace who he could become. Criminal threatening, child support, assault, robbery, home invasion, bench warrants, criminal threatening, attempted murder, fraud, drug possession, driving without a license, bulletproof vest while being a felon, and of course, the one-sided shootout he had with NYPD, who mistook his cell phone for a gun. Those are the multitude of charges on ODB that made you ask yourself, just where do you get the time to be involved in such? And with so much going on, how could you possibly reach your full potential as an artist with that many distractions? It's no wonder he turned to drugs. Stunt number 2, a gift and a curse.
As long as my shit come back like this, I'm not playing. Y'all know I don't play. Pass it around. One trip of each. Pass it around and don't spill my fucking shit.
I think the unmentioned secret about Ole Dirty was that everyone knew something wasn't right. What made him such a unicorn was you never knew what he would say on the record next or the cadence of which he'd choose to say it. He'd be rapping 1 second and then end the bar in multi-tone, singing sort of sounds that expressed just how much of a character Ole Dirty was, and it was infectious. He really should have had his own action figures and much more. He was that compelling of an artist. He brought the amusement element to his artistry, which made some mistake him for a clown of sorts, and not in a disrespectful way, but in a way you can't take your eyes off him, and always felt you understood exactly what he was. That gave you the feeling he was non-threatening. One of the reasons why so many loved him. But that all came at a price. No doubt ODB may have always been this way and had this gift, but for those same reasons, when he first tried using hard drugs, he couldn't stop. It also brought out more of the personality and charisma so many grew to love from ODB. Once that was given to the world, you can't just shut that off and go back to being drug-free and still keep your audience, can you? As a more modern example, when Future let the world in on his secret that he was never really sipping lean, he just used it to enhance his lyrics, I think is where he lost many of his fans. Even if that was a lie told to help his custody case in court. There's something attractive about a rapper being exactly who he says or portrays himself to be. Ole Dirty's animation, delivery, and on-screen personality were gifts that made him popular and a lot of money earned under his name, but the drug use that brought that side out eventually led to his demise, literally. When he was found dead in 2004 at RZA's studio, there was cocaine and high levels of opioids in his system. It was ruled an overdose. One that was probably inevitable and took away this bright legend from music and the world too soon. Stunt number 3, time ran out. Ole Dirty Bastard released just 2 albums in his decade-plus long music career. You can see this as poor work ethic, too many run-ins with the streets and the law, or drug use that sometimes wouldn't allow him to even make it to the studio, and those can all be true together. But the fact is that 2 albums over your career before your untimely demise doesn't allow people to clearly see the full picture of what your art was supposed to be, especially the younger generation that never heard your music. If they did, they'd understand just how dope Return to the 36 Chambers, the dirty version, was, or just how important it was for hip-hop to have a representative as creative and one-of-a-kind as ODB, aka Knifey McStab. His first album went platinum, followed by a gold second album, but that was just scratching the surface of who he was expected to be. It's unfortunate he wasn't present even while he was here to do more. All in all, ODB is still an undeniable legend in hip-hop and rap music. Not because he died young, but when you hear people say an artist was rare, original, or unparalleled, it's really who ODB was in and out of music. He had a lot of musical success, but was also dealing with many demons that eventually led to his passing. Much respect, rest in peace to Ole Dirty Bastard. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.
Also directed mostly towards ODB. I know Praz and the Fugees do things for the community, but what is going to be your thing for the community?
Nothing.